So you probably click on this video because you're looking all around the internet to improve on your trading. Well, in this video, we're going to simplify really quickly for you 3 great tips that have helped me tremendously in my trading and have helped a lot of traders in the past that I've talked to and who are way better than me that they've said in some form or fashion. I wanted to condense this so that way you can apply it as soon as you're done watching this and see some improvement in your mental and in your actual game. Always creating a plan. Now, you probably heard this before, but I want you to listen very closely because I want to detail this as much as possible because I want you to understand the importance of creating a plan and how you can create one and what you need to do after you do that. When you create a plan, the reason it's important is because when you attack a problem, whether it's math, whether it's division, whatever it is, right? Maybe you're trying to plan a trip to Europe. Whatever it is, you don't just show up in Europe and think, all right, I'm here and don't know what to do. Some people can do that. My wife hates me sometimes because I'm okay doing that. But for the most part, when I actually go to Europe and my wife plans what we're going to do, what happens? We accomplish a lot. We see a lot of sites, we go and visit a lot of places, and we have a lot of great experiences, and we grow through that. That's what's gonna happen when you create a plan. When you're trading, you wanna create a plan so you kind of have an idea of what you can accomplish and what can possibly happen from different scenarios. So how do you create this plan? I want you to think about if then. If this happens, then this happens. If this happens, then I do this. Start thinking like that, because if you start thinking this way, then you'll start to think of all the scenarios that could happen instead of the one that we all want to happen, the right one, right? The one that we win on, because that's not necessarily going to happen. So you want to start with if the stock hits X, and in this example, we're going to say buying a stock. If the stock hits $1, I want to buy shares because it's coming down from the highs of $2. So that gives me an idea that if it comes to $1, it's possible that it can then go back to 2. But it's not that simple, right? I'm not just gonna buy because it's dropped 50%. That's not why I'm buying. It's because I'm looking to the left, which we've made videos about. To the left, if you're looking at me, we made videos about where you need to understand where is it coming from and is it coming into support. We made tons of videos on support and resistance. You need to watch those because it's not as simple as support's gonna hold all the time. We go really into depth on that. But here's what I want you to do. The reason we're gonna be buying the one is because we've seen those videos and we understand that support is in that area. So we're gonna buy into that zone. And when we buy into that zone, part of our plan is if it breaks to 90 cents or below, then I am cutting the trade. If it holds at $1 and shows some pretty good consolidation for about 5 minutes, then I will add more to my position. If it just rockets after hitting $1, then I am taking profits at X, Y, and Z profit targets. And where are those profit targets? You're gonna know that by looking left again on your chart, and you want to be able to see where are resistance levels where you can take some off. That is what I mean by creating a plan. You want to know where you're getting in, when you're getting out, where you're taking profits, and what needs to happen for you to be more comfortable to add, and what happens if it just goes your way. Well, sometimes that happens, and sometimes you don't get full size. So you need to have a plan that you're just gonna take profits. Because if not, if you don't have that plan, what you're gonna do, I've been there so many times, you're going to just start, oh, I should have had more. And then you might just trade off emotions because you're aggravated. So have to have a plan. Always cut the trade when your thesis is invalid, no matter what. And a little bonus here, for newbies, I would suggest the whole thought of you can always get back in. I'm gonna get a lot of pushback, I'm pretty sure on this, but I truly stand by this. Maybe for a beginner, and maybe for someone like me who gets sometimes emotional. I get emotional when I'm wrong. It's a fact. That thought can make you get back in, because you're like, oh, I can always get back in. And then you just get back in when the trade hasn't reset up yet. So I want you to get that thought out of your head for a moment. As I mentioned at the beginning, when you have a plan, you know if it drops below 90, then I am cutting the trade. That is a rule that you can never break, especially as a beginner, because if you break that rule, that is a slippery slope to get you down the path of revenge trading, of getting a massive loss because you may win making that mistake and not understanding what you did inappropriately. And if you don't understand what I mean by that, I play a lot of video games, so maybe you can relate this in some way. When you are gaming and you don't know what you don't know, then sometimes you can make some easily dumb mistakes that get you the win. For example, if you're playing a 5v5 first-person shooter and you're up 3-2, meaning you have 3 men on your team and they only have 2 left, you're not going to win in most cases if you go off on your own to fight those 2. But a lot of new people will get that Rambo feeling and just go, and they may win. They may take them both out. But here's the problem. If you're competing, if you're trying to win, and you put yourself in that position, you die because you have 2 people versus 1. If they're playing properly, they're gonna be hanging together. Then now you made it an equal balance situation, which in other words makes it negative for you because you actually had one up. That's what I mean by the newbie's just gonna think, oh, I clutched the game, I just beat 2 people, I killed it, we won, and he's not gonna learn the lesson until it really counts and he's playing real competitors and they demolish him and his teammates get upset that they now lost the round. So in trading, it's very similar. You could hold a position when it goes below 90 and it just goes to 88 and you're like, I'm gonna hold it because it's only 2 cents below where I said if it breaks then I cut. And then it just rockets because someone tweets like Elon Musk saying I'm gonna buy this stock and it just goes 300% and you're like, oh my gosh, like Alex is an idiot. Like I just made 300% on this position, I'm killing it. Let me tell you this right now, I've talked to traders who I can't record with because they don't wanna share it and that's fine. But they mentioned that they were up $300,000 and then lost it all the way down to 40 grand in a matter of 2 to 3 trades because they didn't understand that they were learning the wrong lesson. They were making that rookie mistake and making money. And this game is so hard because we think making money, sure, it is the end goal, but we think making money means we did it right. But that's false. And I'm gonna share something soon in the end that I think is gonna be huge to help you realize all of these mistakes that you're doing while you're creating a plan that you have no idea you're doing right now. That you think right now you're doing everything perfectly, but you're not consistent. I promise you, if you listen up, especially on the last advice, you will catch a lot of errors. So I gotta repeat this, you need to always cut when your thesis is invalid. If you believe a stock should be a long trade, meaning you're buying because it's gonna go higher, and you see different levels, and you're like, I don't know which level to pick to cut my trade because it could break this level and then go down lower, but it's still kind of bullish. If you don't know, you got 2 choices. 1, don't trade it at all, or 2, you have to trade with a wide stop. That sucks because you're probably thinking, well, if I trade with a wide stop and it never really gets to that lower level where I can buy more, then I'm gonna have a small position. And if I'm right, I may make, nothing. That's true, but you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna go through the motions, you're gonna experience it. And you gotta remind yourself, this is about the process. Record your screen or take snapshots of your trades throughout the trade. I'm not talking about at the end when it's all said and done. I'm talking about if you enter the trade, take a snapshot and write a note on it. When you take a profit, take a snapshot and write a note on it. When you exit for a loss, take a snapshot, write a note on it. If you take 8 profits, you're taking 8 snapshots and then a last snapshot at the very end. Why am I doing that? Because you want to see what your thoughts were in that moment where you took those first profits or where you took the first entry. Because as I mentioned, if you missed it, you want to mention why you entered on that first snapshot. On the second snapshot, why did you take some profits and how are you feeling? I'm feeling nervous because It doesn't feel like it's going my way too fast, so I'm gonna take some off to feel comfortable. Be honest with yourself. If you can record your screen and record your voice, you can just talk. And if you do that, then you'll hear some subconscious messages that you don't even realize you say out loud until you watch yourself. And then you'll be like, yeah, I'm trading this completely emotionally today. But you might not really know that until you watch it. And there's some cases where you feel like you traded a great setup and then you re-watch it and you re-look at your clips or your snapshots, and then you look at it and you're like, that wasn't a short at all. That was a long. That is realization that you show yourself. Here's something I say a lot to my friends, to myself, and it's: a man changed against his will is of the same opinion still. And that relates to a lot of things in life, but how I can relate that to trading is you could talk to a trader all day, right? And they could tell you, hey, stop doing that. Stop holding that loser. But until you tell yourself and admit it and coach yourself, it's gonna be a lot harder to do. Very hard. This is that way to kind of cheat yourself to get there quicker and coach yourself, because you're coaching yourself. You can't be like, hey, that was you can't argue, right? It's harder to argue that and say, well, that trader trades different from me. No. You're trading against yourself now. You're talking to yourself, so you need to listen up. So I'm hoping if you do this, please let me know. And if you already do it, comment below. I want to know what you do and what you've seen and how it's helped you, because there's a lot of people who are watching this right now who are looking for help. So if you're part of the community, let people know if I missed something that can really help others in their trading. And again, God bless and follow the process.